I think we all had an idea that night one was too damn good, but we failed to entertain the thought fully, and going out on such a high made everyone optimistic for night 2. Now I don't want to waste time, let's get into it, because we all know what you're here for. The show kicked off with Jimmy Allen performing America the Beautiful. The first match was between Brock Lesnar and Omos. The match came from the left field, it was from out of nowhere, but when you look at the dynamics and boom, you know exactly what Brock Lesnar's doing. It was either this or a Bray Wyatt match involving him doing some magic stuff, just some stuff that does not befit Brock Lesnar. For Omos, this is a huge position, no pun intended, and the fact that Brock Lesnar chose him as his opponent, it's incredible. The match itself did its job, did not overstay its welcome in the slightest, and allowed for us to watch Brock work as an underdog, which isn't often. I can't hate on this match, it's classic pro wrestling, but I did wish Brock would face somebody else. It is what it is though, and for Omos, this was certainly his biggest match. Yeah, Brock Lesnar, he did a good job here, playing the role of the underdog, fighting from underneath, and finally hitting the big F5 on Omos before, I assume, leaving the entire city completely and arriving home by the end of the show. That's probably what it was. Brock probably made it home by the time Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes were wrestling. Probably hopped on a private jet. It's like, I'm out of here. With that said, the next match was a fatal 4-way women's tag team match. Raquel and Liv Morgan, Natalya and Shotzi, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, and Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler faced off. Similar to the men's match, it was a way of getting others on the card. The thing is, we should have known the tone of the show after this match, not because it was bad. I'll mention that in a moment. The match itself was basic stuff you'd see on SmackDown, and I don't even remember half of the match. I remember Chelsea Green diving, posing constantly, Natalya locking in the sharpshooter on both Sonya and I believe Chelsea, and Shayna Baszler suffering a random injury. Once she got in with Ronda, that was it. They won it with ease, and personally speaking, I thought they were the best choice to win the match. These two should destroy everyone in sight, win the titles, and that might help them give some more attention to their tag team division, although that's highly, highly unlikely. But yeah, Shayna Baszler suffered a bizarre injury. She just came from out of nowhere, nobody knew what's up, and they won the match. That's literally what we could get out of this whole entire thing. That Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are a team to be feared, to be reckoned with, and Shayna Baszler suffering an injury. At least Bobby Lashley got a WrestleMania check. I hoped he would actually have a match because this man's popular. He's been doing a lot of stuff recently. So to see him not on the WrestleMania card was a bit unfortunate. The Bray Wyatt incident happened and they couldn't really find something for him, I guess. Maybe LA Knight would have been a good choice, who again should have been on the card. The next match was for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther defended the gold against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. This is the one many had the highest hopes for. We know what they were capable of, and to be honest, I almost thought it was too good to be true, because when these matches have been on a B-level pay-per-view, they deliver and then some. On the biggest stage though, is a different story. Luckily that wasn't the case here. Once the ring general made this grand entrance, we should have known better that this was gonna deliver. This one was so damn rough. Their chests were absolutely battered and decimated due to the constant shots. You felt how much Drew and Sheamus wanted it. Titus O'Neil on commentary was entertaining, and Sheamus was the highlight of the match, I'd say. Everyone was exciting, but he just had a little more. That crowd was behind everything, and I couldn't believe we were seeing this type of match at WrestleMania. Not because of the guys or anything like that, but the fact that it was delivering the way it did. They exceeded expectations as hard as it would have been, and the best part in the match for me was when Sheamus hit the bro kick and had the match won when Drew pulled him out of the ring, and then they brawled. Even then, they surprised us with the sequence between those two in the ring. It was anybody's match. The match was wonderfully constructed, and the final 2 minutes cemented it as the absolute Intercontinental Championship match. This is the Intercontinental Championship at its very best, and we haven't seen an IC title match this good, this kind of match, since probably WrestleMania 10 off the top of my mind, because there's been some previous matches that were good, but this one was on another level. I love when this happens. You have expectations, and these expectations are higher than Rob Van Dam on 420, but they not only meet them, but exceed them. And for Gunther, this was another notch up his belt to make this the strongest Intercontinental Championship reign in years. I still don't think Sheamus is completely out of it though. It really feels like it's going to be him or Drew McIntyre in the future, surely. If it ain't them, it's probably Braun Breaker, but I'm going to go with Sheamus. The next match is for the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair defends the title against Asuka. Asuka's undergone a significant change to become the challenger for the EST. This one wasn't that predictable, which is a great thing, but I edged towards Asuka because Bianca's reign has run its course and runs into the problem of challengers. It's the fact that there's not many out there she could defend the title against. In addition, we didn't really see what she's truly capable of in the past few months. This was a very strong match. I thought it was better than others thought, especially coming after that title match. Asuka felt like a genuine threat throughout the match, and the action here proved that Bianca Belair is Miss WrestleMania. They couldn't steal the show, but they certainly got their hands on it, and the victory for Bianca Belair showed that she's their woman. She's in that 2007 John Cena arc where she's going through everyone to establish her as the star. I personally wanted Asuka to win, but I get what they're doing here. Bianca Belair, she's building a legacy at WrestleMania. I just wonder who's next. That's the problem, because the entire roster has gone through her except Charlotte. Charlotte. It's not so much her being champion, it's the fact that she can't really face anybody that's credible barring Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. Great match though, it delivered the way I expected it to, and if they had a couple of more minutes, who knows, maybe they would have had a bigger claim to stealing the show, although the previous match, as I said, made it almost impossible. The Miz, meanwhile, complained to Snoop Dogg about the previous night, provoked him to the point where an impromptu match was made with Shane McMahon. Snoop called him an OG, and I was like, this is the sequel we never knew we wanted. And Shane showed off some of that MMA style punches before randomly hurting himself. I kind of questioned if this was legit or not, but it became apparent a few seconds later. But as I said, it was so random. You saw the Miz in a suit, a sparkly suit, Shane McMahon, and then Snoop Dogg improvised before Shane disappeared somewhere. He respawned away from the stadium, and Snoop ended up hitting one of the weirdest looking people's elbows to beat the Miz. Miz forgot to upgrade his stats for this one because he was 64 overall, and it was one of the most strangest segments I've ever seen. I'm literally laughing right now just thinking about it. Shane McMahon returned, hurt himself, and faded away, leading to Snoop taking the match and winning it. And I still don't know what to make out of it because it just happened. But yeah, Snoop Dogg was wise for that one. The next match was Hell in a Cell. Edge faces the Demon Finn Balor. The Rated R Superstar summoned his brood self, and they're promoting the Pope's Exorcist, which was tied into the match. But for this one, it's a year-long story. Edge's change of character in March of last year brought him to create the Judgment Day. Sitting on his mountain of omnipotence, Edge felt untouchable until the very same man that he brought in took him out. Here, it was to settle the score. I do find it kind of funny how Brood Edge is a thing now. They just be like, oh, he's now Brood Edge. There's not much that's different about him. He just rises from the flames and he's mad. He's much more angrier. He came out to Slayer and in addition had this crazy ass entrance. Like Edge's entrance has become even better over the last few years. And I'm not talking about the special WrestleMania entrance in the beginning, but just his regular entrance. Everyone sings along. They love it. Finn Balor, on the other hand, brought back the Demon and had his old theme song, which was a nice touch. This one had something going against it, unfortunately. But let's talk about the match itself. First of all, it was intense. That goes without saying. You knew that this was the end of the feud, hence the sell. Balor was constantly shouting, making a lot of sounds, and they had colored weapons, which was straight out of a cartoon. I was just waiting for the cartoon effects to come in when they throw the weapons. The action was going decent, but then Edge threw a ladder in Balor's face and he was opened up. The blood was pouring and they were lucky that he was wearing face paint because it was rough. They stopped the match for a bit because of that, and I heard a bunch complaining, which I get initially. You know, like WWE is like, oh, we see blood. They see a little red, they run away. But it's understandable why they did that, especially if you've seen the cut on Twitter, because the top of this man's head was parted like the Red Sea. He was split open. It's just bad. It's one of those cuts that they had to attend to, and that's what they did. They had to inject something in him just to get the match over with. Like, we all know it's Hell in a Cell, this and that, but there's more to life than wrestling. They started rushing the match from there. There's a nice spot with the coup de grace. Edge then hits the spear and ends this feud with a concerto. The moment Balor was attended to really hurt the match. It is what it is because they certainly were supposed to do more, hence WWE having the damn commercial time wasting like it's a football match afterwards. But the match should have been better than it was. I had an idea when to live up to the hype as always, but this one was out of their hands. Maybe it would have been disappointing anyways, but that cut, the whole incident with Edge throwing the ladder in his face, really hurt the match. Decent stuff though. Edge winning from a storyline standpoint makes sense. This man had the group taken away from him. His wife was destroyed with a chair and he had to return the favor and end it all. Even then, it caught me off guard. I had Balor scoring the win for his career and trying to build something after WrestleMania, and with the Demon, it felt like a foregone conclusion. But the man would have been better off as normal Finn for this one. The Demon in general didn't hit the same here. But yeah, Edge is the winner. I wonder where he goes from here. Perhaps the US title with Austin Theory, which I think is very interesting. I think that would be cool if he were to feud with him for a bit. But Finn, on the other hand, could be phased out of the Judgment Day in favor of his NXT Prince persona, which I feel is the best case scenario. That's an if. I'm just speculating right now. This is not a fact. Because as good as the Judgment Day has been for Rhea and Dom, if someone suppresses him, plus Damian Priest could lead the group from here on because I feel he has a lot more to offer as number one. But yeah, I hope they bring back Prince Finn Balor, the one from NXT from 2019, 2020, that type of guy who wasn't a heel, but he wasn't outright a face. He was just himself. I love that version of him. I hope to see him eventually, so yeah. And the main event, Cody Rhodes challenged Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal Championship. This is the one we have been waiting for. After so many sponsorships, time wasting at its finest like you're watching an Atletico Madrid game, we finally get the main event. Cody Rhodes has came from out of nowhere to become the challenger in the main event of WrestleMania. It's almost surreal to see him in the main event against the Tribal Chief, but it happened. He came out and had this big ass entrance. His family was at ringside. -1 was at ringside, and at this point, I thought the boy was going to watch a new champion crowned. Everything was in place. The atmosphere, the situation, and of course, the challenger. I just can't get over how the match felt. Everything was perfect about it. Cody feeling out Roman, who's feeling he's beneath him. Solo Sikoa constantly getting involved, trying to drive the momentum away from Cody Rhodes. It just flowed well in every area, even the commentary. Michael Cole called the match in a way where you felt like this was the night. It just had to be because everything aligned well. Cody's resolve and resiliency was making Roman doubt him. It was starting to become Cody's night, and especially after he hit the Superman punch and spear. This man was kicking out, Roman was losing it, and the whole thing was dramatic. It was super dramatic and was serving to make Cody Rhodes look like Superman. The Usos, of course, interfered, but KO and Zayn made the save and dropped Roman with their finishers, and at this point, the title was changing hands. Cody started going for those strikes, shades of his father. He hits 2 crossroads. Michael Cole's commentary was on point, and then Solo Sikoa, who was ejected earlier on, comes in, hits the Samoan spike, and Roman hits the spear to retain the title. The level of excitement I had after that faded. I was like, damn, they're going to have a new champion. But then I see they count to 3. And not only that, Solo Sikoa standing in the middle of the ring. And I delusionally thought they would restart the match similar to The Rock at the Royal Rumble in 2013. But they didn't do that. Now, it wasn't something that ruined my day because wrestling is, of course, predetermined. My favorite sports teams don't even ruin my day because this stuff is not... I'm not really involved with this type of stuff. But it was a situation where, like, it was supposed to be the special coronation for the man. He was everything they needed in this time, and he lost. And what it comes down to, regardless of Cody Rhodes being the guy, I personally just wanted to see something different. Doesn't matter, because they just want to drag it for the number at this point. And in that moment, it was the best decision for Cody to win because everything was on point. The biggest stage in the main event of WrestleMania. And not only did he lose at his hottest, but he lost after Solo Sikoa interfered and did the same ending. So it wasn't creative, and for the biggest show of the year, it was shallow. They had to know better to find something different. And that leads to the question of, what's next? For Roman Reigns, same story, but for Cody, I think his opportunity is not over with. I don't really think it's over with completely. I believe it's going to come at SummerSlam, except this time, he actually wins. Something similar to Rocky. I just hope it happened here for maximum excitement and perfect timing. Most of all, I just wanted to see someone different on top. Whether it's Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, it doesn't matter because at face value, Roman is not losing for at least 4 months. And if that doesn't happen, WrestleMania 40, which honestly, I'm not interested in. Roman losing at WrestleMania 40 does not sound ideal to me. It just sounds like, oh, we're going to drag it. You're going to see Solo interfere. He's going to raise his arm in the air every time. Like, at this point, I'm starting to doubt if there's anyone that could actually beat this guy. It was an amazing main event. That ending was bad, though. It was a bad decision to have him lose like that because I don't think it's going to get any better than that. With the Drew McIntyre situation, like, oh, they could save it for WrestleMania. With Sami Zayn, they could save it for WrestleMania. Now, it's like they walked into a dead end. We'll see, though. I just hope that this thing ends properly because it's really not going to be looked at positively in the future if Roman Reigns' run overstays its welcome. Alright, that's WrestleMania Night 2. Not the best show. This show had a lot going against it. Injuries, booking decisions. We had title changes the previous night, and here they're like, oh, sit down. You had your night, let us have ours. Other than that, I really enjoyed Asuka and Bianca Belair, great match. Triple Threat Intercontinental Championship match was probably match of the night. I would have had Cody and Roman, my match of the night, but that ending was shallow. It wasn't Cody just losing. He lost after interference from somebody who was ejected. They didn't even put in effort to try and do something creative with the ending and have Cody Rhodes lose. It wasn't the worst show out there, but compared to night 1, it just didn't hit the same, so yeah. Alright, what you guys think of WrestleMania Night 2? Please comment down below. That's the first video. Make sure you hit the bro kick on the like button and perhaps the spear on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.